Well, thank you so much for joining us here on AccuWeather Weekend. I'm Bree.
And I'm Constanzer. We do have a lot to cover as we continue to follow what has been the true devastation behind Helene from Florida across Georgia into the Carolinas. We've been dealing with some very significant impacts, and it's left dozens of people dead.
Yeah, and we're continuing to follow this story, and we do want to start you off with a look at satellite and radar to get a feel of where the storm is now, or at least what is left of the storm. It kind of got scooped up from some energy further north, but we're still tracking some rain here across the Ohio Valley.
And any bit of moisture, too, that works its way through parts of the Carolinas into Georgia. It just means as you try to carry out some of those moldy rooms and anything that could be really damp, it can lead to more challenges because we don't have that nice dry air in place just yet.
Not yet. Memphis still seeing those showers, 70s.
Well, of course, as we talk about all the cleanup from that storm, the Atlantic still has action, unfortunately, for us. As we look, we've got Isaac and Joyce on the board. We also have more tropical waves that we're following here, so we know there are still other threats. The good news is Isaac taking its way northward. The storm system that's likely to develop behind Joyce, not a huge problem as it stays, again, towards the central Atlantic. So our attention turns to that same area that we watched Helene try to form into the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. That's our hot zone as we go through the upcoming days, even starting as early as tomorrow. We're watching for the potential for development through this week. And keep in mind, Helene's formation right here. So that kind of gives you that perspective of where this storm could develop, this next one, and how Helene transpired in that time. So this week, we are monitoring the Caribbean and the Gulf for areas of development. As we go towards the late week, that's when we're looking for more impacts possible. Friday through the weekend, we'll see the storm working north through the Gulf of Mexico. Again, likely to become a tropical system, and it will strengthen quickly through the Gulf yet again. And our areas of concern, Louisiana to Florida, that's where we're talking about the most concerning threats and that high impact as we would work towards a landfall into next weekend there. So these are all things we're keeping an eye on. Let's take you to Philadelphia. Our cleaning up. It's very concerning for those that prepared and maybe didn't get hit this time. There's still potential here as we go through this upcoming week. Remember, the core of hurricane season, we're still in it, unfortunately, even as we head into the first 2 weeks of October easily. We will be watching for more tropical activity. Kirk, Leslie, both one or both or good form as we talk about it this week. Here we are across the Atlantic and looking at what we have. We have Isaac and Joyce here, both impactful as we talk about them, and both will be, I shouldn't say, neither are impactful as we talk about them. What we're concerned about are some of these tropical waves that are moving through, and we'll have some impacts a little bit closer to home. So again, Isaac lifting northward, not a big problem as it goes to the North Atlantic. Joyce will actually turn northward as well, but it's in the central Atlantic, away from all land, so no big challenges. Where do we focus in on? Well, we focus in on those two tropical waves that we're talking about, at least for the early part of this week. The one likely to form in the central Atlantic, this one's kind of going to ride on the coattails of Joyce. The other one closer to home is very concerning because we're watching this area highlighted for where we've had Helene's formation. So we do know that there is some risk here as we talk about this through the early week to see another storm form kind of in a similar pattern as to where Helene formed. And through the early week, we'll watch it try to develop into the midweek, and then by the late week, there will be that intensification leading to impacts towards next weekend. Really quickly, we want to take you to Jersey.
Well, thank you so much for sticking with us here on AccuWeather Weekend. We've been covering a lot about the tropics, and it's common to see great tips there. Switching gears, let's take you out west where things are hot, to say the least. High pressure is large and in charge, and things have been heating up unseasonably hot here for this time of year, even in areas like the desert southwest. But that heat isn't just here. It extends further north as we have this very large area of ridging here that's allowing that heat to really expand, even as far north as Billings, Casper, Boise. Overall, highs running about 6 to 12 degrees above where we typically sit for this time of year. And I don't have to say this, with highs running so well above our historical averages, We're in record territory. In fact, some changes here on the way as we head into the early week. We do have a front that's going to be passing through, so a much cooler air mass is going to be taking hold across the northwest and spreading there across the northern plains as well. Though you're not going to see too many changes here across the southwest, as it is still going to be quite hot. Let's take a look at the numbers here for areas like Billings, because you will see that stark difference here just from Sunday into Monday. Sunday, again, we're forecasting highs well into the 90s. By Monday, we're dropping down to 61. That's over a 30-degree temperature swing here as we head throughout the start of the week. Tuesday, we're staying at 76, so you will see a slight warm-up. It's not going to be cool by any means, but you're definitely going to be feeling those differences here as we head into Monday. Not so much here further south. Phoenix, you're yet again in record territory, looking to